fast forward a little bit, and you can talk about anything I'm missing in between, but that truck. Now, I've seen pictures of this truck. Now, when I saw it, there was no bed on the back. Mm-hmm. It was just rough, no paint job on it. And I don't know if you kept it like
that's
that.
That's how it's staying.
That's how it's going to stay?
That's how
okay,
it's staying.
That looks good.
Much to the dismay of my wife, that's how it's
really?
staying.
But I mean, you took this thing apart, man. I think there was like nothing inside. Like, you took the interior out. I think you did the interior and all that. So and it's actually like a circus ride.
Yeah.
So tell me the story. Tell me the story about that.
Okay. Well, the story was this: the concept of this truck, this idea, has been, of a medium duty truck, shortened up, tightened up, with almost like cartoon-like proportions. Real stout, real.
So tell us what model it is for those that aren't seeing this and might be on the podcast. So what model truck is that?
It's a 1966 Chevy C60, and it's a medium duty truck. It's bigger than it's bigger than a pickup, but it's smaller than a tractor trailer. Mm-hmm. It's a dump. It's what you would put a dump truck on, or a delivery truck, or a rider truck on it. If you would. Yeah. It's based on a pickup, but it's got bigger fenders and bigger wheels. It's on a bigger chassis. Mm-hmm. And what we did with help of somebody else, I did a body swap on it. And because that truck in 1966, with 1966 technology, was drum brakes all around, a solid axle in the front, a big stack of leaf springs in the back. It was a truck. Mm-hmm. It was a 6-cylinder. It was a 4-speed. It was a 45-mile-an-hour truck. Mm-hmm. It was made to do one thing, and that's haul weight. Not efficiently, or at least not efficiently now. Mm-hmm. It was a 45-mile-an-hour truck. Mm-hmm. So what I did on it was a body swap. Took that cab and put it on a modern 1-ton chassis. I took a 2004 1-ton chassis, which is smaller than a medium duty is considered 5-ton. Mm-hmm. Took that medium duty cab and placed it on a 1-ton chassis and drivetrain. Mm-hmm. So now we've got this old truck, with this patina and this history, with 4-wheel disc brakes, an overdrive transmission, hydro assisted brakes, a multi-port fuel injected engine, basically modernizing it, making it drivable, with this old.
And it looks awesome, man.
With this old body on it.
It looks awesome. Nice stuff. So where did you find that truck? Where did you
on Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't that era of truck wasn't the idea that was in my head. The concept of that truck was actually a later body style, which was known as a square body. Chevrolet used this particular body style from 73 to 87, what they call a square body. My concept for this truck, which again has been in my head for 10-12 years, was with the next generation of truck. But I stumbled across this one, on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, that's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool truck. Not my favorite, but that's a pretty cool truck. So I saved it. And what I learned what happens with stuff on Facebook Marketplace, even if the ad expires, if you saved it, it just saves in your saved items and just doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. So one night this truck is in my head. It's in my head. I'm gonna do this. I know what chassis are out there that I can use, and you know, I'm gonna get this project out of my head and in my driveway. And I'm going through my saved items one night, and, you know, on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, man, I wonder if that truck's still around. So I messaged the guy. You know, is this truck still available? Yeah, it's still available. Well, what are you looking to get for it? He says, make me an offer. He says, I want to come look at it. He says, all right. He says, we finally get together, and he says, here's the address. Go see this guy, and you can go look at the truck. So I haven't met the seller yet, but I go, the truck is in the Bronx. And I go one Saturday morning, I go, you know, I go down to the Bronx, I go see the guy at the gate, and says, you know, Ray sent me. Oh yeah, you're here to see the truck. Come on, let me show you. You know, walk into it was a fuel oil company. And within the fuel oil company was a truck upfit facility, build truck bodies, and build fuel tanks and things like that. And, you know, climbing over tires and guardrails and walking through trailers, and, you know, he takes me to this truck. He says, all right, you got Ray's number? I said, yeah. He says, all right, I'm going back to work. Here's the truck, I'm going back to work. So, you know, I'm looking at this truck, and I'm like, you know, this is like the patina, the condition of the truck is, everything is right for what I want to do. And I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm like, is this real? Am I on camera? You know, is this really happening? You know, because this truck is perfect. You know, the art on the door.
Yeah, I like it, man.
The patina of the truck is you know, is right for what I want to do. And so I look at the truck. I look the truck over, and I just leave. I get in my truck and I go home. I don't tell the guy that I'm leaving. I just get in my truck and I go home. So a few hours later, I get a message from the seller. He says, hey, I heard you were there looking at the truck. What do you think? I said, can I call you? He says, yeah, sure. Here's my number. I finally speak to the guy on the phone. He says, you know, he says, what do you think? I like it. Now, I don't know if he's got somebody else on the hook. If there's no interest in this truck, I don't know what the deal is. All I know is I want this truck. So I say, what are you looking to get? And again, he says, make me an offer. So I make him an offer, what I think is fair. And he says to me, he says, I'm going to say yes. He says, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not my truck, it's my boss's truck. I am 99% sure he'll accept the offer, but let me confirm. Give me some time to get back to him. He calls me back. He says, we're good, we're good on that price. So, make a long story short, now I've got this medium duty truck that doesn't run, that's damn near 30 foot long. I gotta get it out of the Bronx. So he, you know, I try to organize it on my end. You know, I got two guys I can think of that can handle the job. You know, life gets in the way. It wasn't able to happen. And you know, he says, you know, long story short, he says I'll deliver it.
Oh wow.
He says, I live in Newburgh, which is upstate from where we are. He says, I have a trailer. I'll bring it. He says, I'll just bring my trailer. I'll drag my trailer to work, and instead of coming over the George Washington Bridge, I'll come over the Tappan Zee Bridge, and you know, I'll meet you. Okay. Make a long story even longer. I meet the guy. Now, mind you, no money has changed hands.
Oh wow.
You know, he's going on, you know, a verbal agreement. Okay? Haven't sent him a deposit, haven't met the guy, haven't given him any money, haven't wired him any money in any way, shape, or form. He meets me at the rest area.
Oh wow, right over here.
Steps from where we are right now. First time I meet the guy, he's got this rig. You know, he's got now, you know, a 30-foot long truck. Consequently, takes almost just as long a trailer, and you know everything that goes with it. Say, okay, here's where we got to go. This is a tough spot to get into, residential area. My friend's shop, who I hope you meet real soon, it's got to go to his shop. That's where we're going to do the body swap. And he says, you know, all right, we'll get it there. We get it there. A little bit of a hassle to get, you know, to get it down the driveway. Never got my hands dirty. Drops the truck. Give him the money. Gives me the title. I try to give the guy some more money. Okay, I was like, here, man. Here's an extra 200. You know, you got 4 axles. Okay, you're crossing a bridge. You got 4 axles. You got fuel. I said, you don't drive this truck to work every day. Okay, you made a special trip, and you're dragging a trailer from upstate New York over bridges. Here, man. Here's some. Wouldn't take the money.
Wow.
Wouldn't take. Stand up guy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take. I'm like, listen, take the wife out to dinner. Nah, man, we're good.
Wow.
Ended up becoming friends with the guy.
That's cool.
So the tail end of this story and kind of where the story begins again was after, you know, the next day, or when I get back to the truck in the daylight, I start going through it, start cleaning it out. And what it was this truck was originally had a carnival ride on the back of it. It was a kiddie ride. And it was called the ride, the type of ride it was called the whip ride. The company who owned the truck was Super Duper Amusements.
And that's what's on the side of it.
And that's what's on the side of it, on the door. So it was Super Duper Whip. The whole reason I bought that truck is for what it says on the door. Was that hand painted logo, that name.
And it looks so cool.
You know, I saw that and I was like, I gotta have this truck for what it says on the door.
Yeah.
So, you know, I start going through the truck and I find rolls of tickets for the ride, which were not generic tickets.
Oh, they were super duper.
They were Super Duper Amusements, you know, tickets. And I start finding signs, you know, this ride requires 10 tickets, and you know, I started to like unearth the history of the truck. You know, when I started, you know, started cleaning it out. If you recall, you probably recall this when we were kids. Do you remember the leather key wallets that it unsnapped?
Yeah. The little slit in there.
Yeah, and then there were, you know, 5 little hooks that each individual.
Oh yeah.
The key was still in the ignition with one of those leather key wallets. Like it was like somebody, you know, it was like the truck, you know, got back from a job and then it was parked.
It never moved again.
And somebody walked away from it.
Wow.
So the tail end of this story was, you know, I started to, you know, post some pictures online in some of these medium duty truck groups that are out there. And then a guy comes on and says, hey, I used to own that truck.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and he was the guy who bought the truck for the ride. Then took the ride and put it on a more modern chassis. He was a guy who had an entertainment company in Staten Island, New York, and says, you know, I actually got him on the phone, and he's like, I've got pictures of that truck with the ride on it, and you know.
That's the picture I saw. You posted that. Yeah.
So you know, it's you know, the history started to come together, and what was interesting was I had the title for the truck. When I bought the truck, I got the title, and the title for the truck was never transferred to the second owner because he wasn't going to use the truck. He just wanted the ride. So the title changed hands from the original owner to the second owner to the guys at the company that did the conversion to the later truck. So the original owner's name is still on the title.
Wow.
So I start, with my limited computer abilities, I start, Googling around and Google the guy's name, and the name, the guy, the address on the door of the truck was Colonia, New Jersey. The address for the owner on the title was Colonia, New Jersey. So I start looking into that, and what I, find on the internet without paying, without any of these pay services, I find that the guy's about 80 years old, which makes sense given the year of the truck, and for all that I can tell, he still lives at that address. So I go on Facebook and I find a community page for that town, and I say, hey, I just bought this truck, it's based out of Colonia, New Jersey, anybody know anything about this? One woman says, when I was a kid, I was friends with the family, my parents were friends with the family. She says, I used to take tickets for that ride when I was a kid.
And you still got those tickets.
And I have rolls of those tickets. And then, is he still around? Yeah, he's still around. He's not on Facebook, obviously. Is there any way I can get a hold of him? He's still a resident of Colonia, New Jersey, which puts, starts to make sense, and, because it's still got a Colonia address. There's 2 numbers on the door of the truck. I call the numbers on the door of the truck. One of them is still good. I get an answering machine, and it sounds, the voice on the answering machine sounds like an older woman. I leave a message. I don't hear anything. I never hear back. I honestly, I never tried to call again, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive down there and knock on the door. And
you going to drive down there in the truck?
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm interested in more history.
Yeah.
You got any newspaper articles? You got any service records on the truck? You got any old pictures? I'd love to see them, have copies of them, whatever. Because it just kind of,
Because like I say right here, Extinct Legends, every car has a story.
Right.
That truck's got
and
a story, man.
it kind of took on a life of its own.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But if I do go to, local shows or whatever, I'd like to have
the stuff, all the
stuff that goes along with it.
Those pictures the other guys sent you, and all that stuff.
The signs and
and who knows what's in the archives, man? There might be a picture of the fair or that truck or something. There's probably some. You do a little bit more searching, I'm sure you could find something.
I talked to a guy who grew up in North Jersey, and he didn't say that truck specifically, but he says, I remember as a kid growing up in Paterson, New Jersey, he says those trucks like that would come to town on a Saturday and set up on a side street, and you would ride the rides as kids.
That's cool.
So
that's good stuff, man. I mean, for the people who are on the podcast or whatever and can't see it, they definitely have to go to the website and we'll put some pictures up.
Yeah,
I'll definitely see pictures of that beautiful whip, man, because it is, man, when I seen that, and because I know you, and so for so many years, I said, when I seen that truck, I said, man, Gregg gonna do something with that truck.
Yeah, no, listen, you gotta have a plan.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm sure it's the same with anything else, whether it's a computer or a car builder or whatever, or a house, you gotta have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you waste a lot of money. You change directions, you change your mind, you change colors,
and when I saw it, I was like, man, I don't know if he's gonna paint that or not.
No.
Man, it like you said, the patina on there, man. That's a survivor, man.
Right.
And just the way I know you're gonna put your spin on it, and make it nice and clean. And I think I saw a little video of you going up and down the street with it. So that's awesome, man. I think that's probably one of your greatest pieces of work.
My wife, she doesn't get it. Okay, and I understand that. I mean, she's been with me, and she's seen stuff come from from stuff that was ready for the junkyard to,
Show car.
painted and polished and going down the road. And she says, "Are you at least going to put a nice paint job on that?" I go, "Nope."
Keep it just like that, man.
Nope. That's what it is, and she'll see. She'll just today before I got here, I'm watching one of these shows, and the guys put an old utility body on a newer pickup truck, and he says, "I want to match this age, this patina," and he's showing how he does it. And I'm looking at her, and she's like, she's looking at me, and I'm like,
he's paying to do that.
This guy is doing what I have. He's trying to recreate what. So
would you clear coat it or anything, or you just keep it like that, or you just keep it as is?
I'm not a fan of the clear coated patina.
You just want to let it be what it is.
I mean, I want to. There are things you can do to preserve it, yet keep that original look. That's the way.
Yeah, because maybe if you clear coat it, then it'll look like the guys who replicated that.
Yes.
You want to make sure people know that that's the real thing.
Yeah, I want to preserve. I don't want it to deteriorate anymore.
Right.
But I don't want it to look.
I don't even think you're gonna duplicate the way it looks.
No, you can't.
I mean, that when I saw that, I was like, where did Gregg find that, man? I said, I've got to talk to him about that truck.
Even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while.
Yeah, man, you did good, man.
That's why, like I said, I'm sitting there and I'm standing between two shipping containers that are stacked up and a 15-foot chain link fence. And this truck is there. It's been, pretty much left to die there. And I'm looking around and I'm like, is this real? Is this real?
Pinch yourself, right?
Is this really happening?
Yeah. Man.
So from that point, I'm like, I gotta have this truck.
And then I know that feeling too when you got your mindset on something. You're looking like like when I went and got my Legend, my black one. I drove up during a hurricane from Florida. I flew up to Connecticut and got in, drove all the way back to Florida. I was the only one going south on 95. But it's like, when you have that in your mind, you can't really even enjoy it or wait until the whole deal's done. It's like even you're going through the process, it's like, I'm gonna get it, but then you just got that nervous pit in your stomach, man. You gotta see it through to the end.
What happens with me is I get an idea in my head, okay? I want to build this. I want to, I want to build this car. I want to build this truck. I want to own one of these. What happens with me is that I start to think about it, and it's built in my head. It's finished. The end result. I already know what I want it to look like.
That's awesome.
And then it becomes an obsession.
Right.
I'm not one of those guys who are like, I want a Nova, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
No, you already know.
And I want a short box pickup, or I want an Astrovan, or I want an MR2, or I want whatever. I know what it's when I start thinking about it, within
the build is happening.
Within 3 days, it's built in my head.
Nice.
It's done. And that probably gets me in trouble sometimes, because it becomes I get fixated on it, and they take on a life of their own, and things change as you go. Like I said, I mean, my original concept of that truck was a later model year truck. I'm not even really a fan of the 60 to 66 era Chevy trucks. I really never was. But I started to warm up to the medium duty ones with the big fenders,
the big hood,
the big massive.
Yeah, the hood's like this. You can grab your hands on it.
Yeah. And so I warmed up to the medium duties, and I saw, I'm not the first one to do something like this. I'll admit that. I saw some other trucks, guys who did something similar online, and they were definitely inspiration for me doing what I did, and I gave them credit for that. you know, but, you know, I get an idea going in my head, and, you know, and I start, you know, you get on the phone and you start looking, looking at Google images, and you start, you know, and then you start flipping through magazines, and you know, it just mutates.
It has its own
It
journey.
mutates, and it's, you know, in your mind, and, you know, with me, it's pretty much done. You know, within days of me having it, it's done. You know, the original, you know, the thought, you know, they change, you know, due to, you know, structural, mechanical, or whatever. But the general, you know, idea, it's in my head, it's done. You know, within a couple weeks, it's the finished product is in my head.
You've done a few things, man. I like what you do, but that definitely, man, that one I think might have been one of your greatest pieces of work so far.
Again, it was, you know, I've been talking about this. I've been talking about it with friends of mine for a solid 10 years now. And, you know, I just woke up one day, and one friend of mine reignited the, you know, we were just bench racing and talking about it, and one friend of mine reignited the spark, you know, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do, you know, because you wait, you know, the right time, the shop space, the this, the that, you know, the money, and I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, I don't, my stuff is the stuff I do is not, you know, it's not big budget stuff. I do everything I possibly can by myself, you know, with with the resources that I have, you know, and the ability that I've, you know, come to learn over the years. You know, there's a lot of hustle involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of logistics and a lot of hustle involved, especially when you're taking 2 trucks or 2 vehicles, and you're trying to make them one, and you're trying to, you know, make, you know,
you're doing something that hasn't been done before.
You're trying to make a 60s era truck work on a 2000s era chassis, and it's all gotta, you know,
it's gotta work.
It's gotta work. It's gotta stop. It's gotta steer. It's gotta stay cool. You know, it's gotta, you know, it's gotta shift. It's gotta, you know, it's you know, it's gotta maintain all its fluids.
And it sounds like, you know, everything that you learned and you talked about, you know, whether it's electrical stuff or interior, you know, I mean, all that stuff seems to like come together on this stuff, you know, so this is almost like a culmination of all your skills came to play.
Yeah, you know, I reached out, you know, I definitely reached out to other people for some help on it, you know, in areas that you know, I haven't, you know, I haven't explored yet, but, you know, they were gracious enough to let me be there, and
you learn along the way.
And help do the, you know, just, you know, be the helper, and you know, see how it's done, you know, what to measure, what to, you know, what to look out for, and stuff like that. So, you know, I've got that now.
Cool.
You know,
and who knows what'll be the next bill, right?
You know. It's always one more last one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine. So listen, as we get ready to wrap up, man, I always have these things called the one shots, man. I ask you some quick questions and just simple answer, right?
Okay.
What was your first car?
El Camino, 72 El Camino.
Nice. All right. If money was no object, what car would you get?
Money was no object. I gotta, you know, I gotta stick with the bucket list cars. You know, I got a thing for, you know, the 64 to 66 Buick Riviera.
Nice, good selection, man. Good one. All right, what's the car that got away from you?
I don't think anything's gotten away from me. I think I have stuff that I'd like to have back.
Yeah.
There's a couple out there that I'd like to have back, or I'd like to have again.
Yeah.
And that might happen.
All right, good deal. And then finally, you know, what's next, or where you see yourself in about 5 years?
60s Cadillac. 60s Cadillac.
64 or or Series 62, something?
64, 65, 66, mid 60s Cadillacs, two-door hardtops, no posts. You know, even four-door hardtops. I just got a thing for, you know, you know, pillarless.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what, a big part of that, that ideology is your father.
Really? You remember those deuces, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment, man.
Yeah.
That's good to know, man. That's wow.
That burgundy.
The burgundy deuce and a quarter, man. Dude, I'm in a Facebook club right now. Deuce and a quarter. And you know what? I think in the back of the mind, I want a deuce, man, just to tribute to the dad. So maybe, you know, who knows? We might collabo on something like that.
Yeah, no,
that burgundy 455 4 barrel, man.
Yeah, that pillarless hardtop.
Yeah.
You know, that was the shit.
It was. Good call, man. I'm glad we chopped that up. I forgot you remember, man. I'm telling you guys, you don't know. This is family, man. This is my brother from another mother right here.
Listen,
we go back way back.
It's amazing. It's amazing, you know, the stuff that you remember. You know, and listen, I can't remember when I had the lunch yesterday.
Right.
But you know, stuff like that just sticks in your mind. I mean, you know, your dad was into those cars.
Yeah, big time.
It was that was the Gray Ghost in the garage.
Yeah, you got it. The 75.
Yeah,
you can afford a coupe. Yup.
Yeah, but
that 4-door deuce was nice, man. The burgundy one.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
My dad was a luxury car guy too.
Mm-hmm.
My dad liked the you know, he had a Caddy DeVille, a couple more Ford Lincolns,
Yeah.
and you know, the Cougars and you know, the personal luxury cars.
I think when I met your dad took us to see Every Which Way But Loose in the movie theater over here.
Wow.
Remember that?
Wow.
And I want to say he had a Cougar then.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think he had a Cougar.
Yeah, tan and brown Cougar.
Yeah. When we went, that's old school, man. We've been together a long time, man. That's crazy. So, Greg, thank you so much for this time, man. The memories, and it's definitely won't be the last time. You know, we're gonna reconnect and talk some more car stuff.
Absolutely.
So thank you, man. Extinct Legends here, man. We're doing our thing in New York, man. We came up here just for this interview, and we got another one coming on the way. So stay tuned for more stuff from us. Thanks
Good
a
stuff.
lot.